If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you are listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspirational juice. Friends, it is, I know it's Thursday. What day is it? It's April the 27th, 2023, and today the topic is blue cloud. Happy Thursday, everyone. Happy Thursday. I hope that you all had a wonderful Wednesday. Mine was just fine. Yesterday, the main thing is, I went to do childcare at the church last night. We did not get pancakes. Did I tell y'all I was supposed to get the little kid pancakes? Well, I was getting ready to get him some pancakes yesterday, and then all of a sudden he wanted burgers. So that's what we did. Ended up getting burgers instead. But anyway, that's another thing that happened yesterday. After I did the juice, I was supposed to record an episode of GSL, but that didn't happen. So, but yeah, that's what yesterday looked like in a nutshell. Yeah. Yeah. Another really exciting thing happened yesterday. My mom ended up being the first to support the new endeavor that I have not told y'all about yet. But I guess y'all gonna see. Y'all gonna see real soon. I will let y'all know. But that was a nice thing that happened yesterday. Unexpected, greatly appreciated. It gave me a chance to kind of see behind the scenes of like what my potential, I guess if you want to say customers will experience. So thanks, Mom. Thanks for the support. The ongoing support and whatnot. It's just truly a blessing. I know we had some time to kind of touch base and talk about some different things and whatnot, and just, it's amazing, man. It's amazing to see what God has done throughout the generations in our family, as well as just what he's going to do. It's exciting to see what he's going to do. So, outside of that, that's the main stuff from yesterday. This conversation of blue cloud. So how did I get to this topic today? Well, I woke up, I believe at the time of my alarm around 4. I did wake up from a dream and everything like that. In the beginning when I woke up, I didn't necessarily, like, it was on my mind, but I didn't go straight from my pen to write it down. I ended up doing something else, and then ultimately I did feel led to start writing everything down, or write down the things that I could remember from the dream. So I started to do that, and then after I did that, it was like I saw an image of a man in like a dark blue cloud, and I was like, but then what was in my head as I saw that image was private cloud. And it made me think about like Exodus and, the cloud that they was following, X, Y, and Z. So I was like, okay, so I thought that looking up cloud on openbible.info and stuff would lead me there, but it really didn't per se. I mean, I think, once I started going deeper and looking up different phrases regarding clouds and stuff, it came up. But the other verses were just like on a different level, basically. And so then I started to kind of, end up going to like dream moods and looking up what cloud meant and looking up what blue meant and things like that. And not to say it didn't seem good. I don't know if it resonated or confirmed in my heart and mind that that's what I was supposed to talk about. But it was interesting, to say the least. So y'all can look up that stuff on your own if you're interested in seeing what it had to say. But yeah, and then ultimately I just started to think again, and then I started just plugging in blue cloud in openbible.info, and then I separated them. I put cloud and then blue. I don't think I ever looked up private cloud on openbible.info, but basically, I guess I got settled around when I looked up blue. The first verse really stood out to me that came up, and then after that I went back to cloud, and then that's where the other verses started to resonate a bit more. And so that's what I wrote down this morning. That's what I'm going to share. And let's get into this conversation of blue cloud. All right, so the first verse that I guess solidified this conversation in my heart and mind this morning was Numbers 15:38 through 39. I'm just going to read it and then I'll tell y'all what happened. So basically, this is what it says. It says, "Speak to the people of Israel and tell them to make tassels or the corners of their garments throughout their generations, and to put a cord of blue on the tassel of each corner. And it shall be a tassel for you to look at and remember all the commandments of the Lord to do them, not to follow after your own heart and your own eyes, which you are inclined to whore after." So I guess the what is it? The not irresponsible. The I forget the word. Okay, I have to say my silly side in this moment because I can't think of what the word is. But so my silly side, of course, just kind of chuckled at the last line of that because it's like, ooh. But on the flip side, I mean, it's a real statement that is repeated throughout the Bible, that we go whoring after other gods, right? We go whoring after our own ideas. We go whoring after, the immature side of me. There we go, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Again, chuckled after this idea of whoring after something because, of course, y'all know what that word means, right? But that's how God views our actions when we lean and depend on anything else outside of Him. He sees that as whoredom. If you don't know that, then get into your Bible because it says it repeatedly, not just in that verse that I just read. So, yeah, that really stood out to me this morning. It was like, okay, Lord, you want us to remember to follow your commandments. You want us to even put, at that time he had told the Israelites to put this in your clothing as a reminder to not do the thing. Every now and then we need a reminder, no judgment for that. Every now and then we might need a reminder to, not just remember what God has done, but then, maybe to even hold us accountable, right? Again, here I am today sharing and stuff because it held me accountable to get up in the morning and say and do what I said I was going to do. So again, every now and then, having a little reminder is not bad. But like I said, this really stood out to me this morning, and it probably came up because the word blue was in it. And like I said, when I looked up blue in OpenBible.info, this was the very first verse. And I found it to be interesting to reflect on what this verse is saying, that he told the people to put a reminder on their clothing to follow his commandments and to not go after their own heart, lean on their own understanding, all the different verses that the Bible tells us repeatedly. But so then I got into cloud, right? I started looking up verses centered around cloud, and these are the ones that stood out to me. Matthew 24:30. It says, "Then will appear in heaven the sign of the Son of Man, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory." So when I read this verse this morning, I was kind of confused by the word mourn. Even though I guess I understand, I guess if people aren't living right or people aren't thinking that Jesus is real or any of this stuff, and then all of a sudden you see Jesus coming on the cloud, I guess you would mourn in your heart, right? For me, I'm like, well, that sounds like good news, Jesus in the cloud, da da da. But like I said, I think this morning as I was reading the verse, the word mourn is what really stood out to me, and I'm like, mourn? But again, after reflection and thinking about it, I can see how that could be. You know, hopefully no one listening to the sound of my voice will be mourning seeing that image. But hey, you know, if you do feel like you will be mourning to see that image, then hopefully, you know, you're encouraged and inspired to turn some things around. You know, as they say, get right with God and all that. Now then, 1 Thessalonians 4:17 stood out to me as well, and it says, "Then we who are alive, who are left, will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so we will always be with the Lord." So again, that's some good news to me. And it was interesting because I feel like over the past few days, I've been like, this conversation about the rapture and different stuff has been coming up. And even this morning, I saw something I ended up sharing on the Instagram. I mean, no, I saw it on Instagram and I ended up sharing it on our Facebook that talk about Jesus coming back and everything like that. I mean, I really don't know what to say here, y'all. I mean, you know, I guess again, all of this depends on where you are spiritually. Like, to me, this sounds like good news. It sounds like something to look forward to. I often said in my heart growing up, like, ooh, I want to be one of those last days people to get caught up, you know. I guess because maybe in my, again, ignorance or in my immaturity or whatever the case is, thinking of ways to not have to die, right? Thinking of ways to not have to, you know, I guess die in a horrific way or whatever the case is, you know. Who wouldn't want to just be caught up like Elijah? Or there's only, what, two figures that didn't die. The first death, quote unquote, they just were caught up. But anyway, like, you know, to avoid death, right? You know, maybe I wouldn't be one of them last people, you know, that, you know. But I don't know, with all the craziness and stuff that's going on in the world, I mean, I definitely don't want to be here for tribulation. I feel like I've already said that. I definitely don't want to experience that. From what I'm reading, it's supposed to look like and stuff. I'm like, do I want to be one of them last day people? Hey, whatever the Lord wants to do. But regardless of this, y'all, I hope that these two verses that I just read are good news, right? And not something that we're going to mourn, like the last verse said. Like something that we're not looking forward to. Something that when it happens, or if it is to happen for those that are skeptic, right? Like, I guess if you played that scenario in your mind right now, if it happened like in this very moment, like how would you feel in your heart? I hope that you will feel some joy and whatnot, and not the opposite. And if you do or think that you would feel the opposite if it happened right now, then this is probably, I guess, the subtle reminder to, again, you know, make some different decisions and whatnot with your current life. But anywho, Psalm 97:2, it says, "Clouds and thick darkness are all around him. Righteousness and justice are the foundation of his throne." This made me think about the color that I saw in this vision of the man in the cloud this morning. And it was like a cartoon cloud. If I could just go ahead and say that. It wasn't like no airy cloud that we look up in. It was like a cutout of it. I don't know. I didn't really pay much attention to it because, like I said, when the image came across my heart and mind and in my head, I guess this morning, I was more so focused on what I was, quote unquote, hearing in my mind, which was private cloud, than paying attention to the exact image. So I just saw I just saw a cloud like thing. I just assumed that that's a cloud because I just remember blue. But anyway, but I'm doubling down on the color because when I came across this verse and it was talking about a thick darkness, X, Y, and Z, it just kind of seemed like it was the same thing. So anywho, yeah, I got another verse, y'all. It's Revelations 1:7. It says, "Behold, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him, even those who pierced him, and all tribes of the earth will wail on account of him. Even so, amen." I'm like, ooh, Lord. Again, To me, that sounds like good news. I don't know. I mean, maybe the wailing is wails of joy. I don't know. Are there wails of joy? Is that a thing? It's wail and joy. Well, I feel like wail is always used for sorrow. So I tried to help it and flip it around and see if there was some joy. It could be wails of joy. But if not, I mean, if it is the wails of sorrow, just like the mourning from earlier when we read in the previous verse, again, I could see that how that could be, because if majority of us, right, aren't believers, if majority of us aren't on the straight and narrow path, as they say, if the majority of us are on the wide or broad way and things of that nature, then there may be, again, the wailing. There may be sorrow or mourning in people's hearts and minds when this thing happens. I mean, ultimately, this is the juice, y'all. I mean, I only have like one verse in the Go Deeper section, but I feel like I guess all of these things I've shared this morning, you guys can feel free to reflect on. Let it marinate on your heart, souls, and minds. But it was very interesting when I came across the Bible verse of today. I feel like it was a thing that maybe solidified this conversation. I don't know. I guess I put in a little praise when I read it this morning. It's Matthew 7:24. It says, "Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock." Friends, I hope you all are encouraged and inspired to go deeper with all of this. Again, if these images and things are bringing some type of sorrow or some type of, fear or whatever the case is in your heart and mind, then that may be a little subtle sign that, hey, you might want to, change some things around, get right with God. Because, I mean, like I said, that's the juice, y'all. That's the juice this morning. As for today, listen, y'all, today's Thursday. So y'all know that tomorrow is a new episode of the GSL Talk Show. And it's a very important episode. I don't know if you all know, but this month is, I wish I had the title in front of my mind right now to say it correctly. But it's like Sexual Abuse Awareness Month or something like that, the month of April. And we brought Dr. Lisa back for the talk show, and she is going to be talking to us about MAPS. If you guys are not familiar with MAP, that is minor attracted persons, and we're going to be talking about that tomorrow on the talk show. I hope that parents tune in and hear what the doctor has to say. Obviously, again, if you guys saw her last episode, you know that she works with victims and things like that. So, yeah, that episode is airing tomorrow. And also tonight, even though we have not advertised it as we should, so my apologies on the behalf of the GSL family, but tonight we're supposed to have a live episode of, drumroll please, do I have it right here? Oh yes, I do. Here it is, y'all. A live episode of Biblical Sex 101 is supposed to be happening tonight. I believe we're talking about the female or the female orgasm tonight with the Christian sexpert. So yeah. Hopefully that happens, since I put it out here now, so we got to do this episode, even though we did not advertise it or anything like that. But yeah, that's supposed to be happening tonight at 7, and then, like I said, tomorrow at 7, that very important episode will be airing with Dr. Lisa. So yeah, that's what's going on. But thank you all for listening, and I hope that you all have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow if the Lord's will. Bye-bye to those that are on the podcast.
Before I let you go, I have to let you know that I am now a brand ambassador for BoldFaithCosmetics.com, where faith and beauty intersect. Friends, they have the awesome purpose of wanting to just bring inspiration through makeup. I think that is amazing, and I hope that you all check out their awesome lip colors and so much more. So visit BoldFaithCosmetics.com and use the coupon code MIRACLE for 15% off. That's MIRACLE for 15% off.